welcome. This is the Market Wrap. I'm Agam Akil. Let's talk about how the week has gone by, and this week certainly has been very constructive when it comes to the benchmark indices. We have seen the Nifty advance by as much as 1.5%. Despite the 25-point odd decline today, it's been a strong week. Well, the stock of this week is Larsen & Toubro, largely on account of the buyback that they came through, and Tech Mahindra because of some upgrades and the catch-up that it has been playing with a lot of its with peers. Vedanta and UPL among the others which are gained, and Reliance Industries holding up as well, up as much as 6% through the course of the week. On the losing end, we do have weakness in OMCs. BPCL leading the losses, down nearly 6%, followed by Titan Company and Infosys, along with GAIL and IndusInd Bank also declining. Let's talk about today's day of trade, and today the NSE 500, we had about 2 gainers for 3 losers. And what really stands up in trade today was Hexaware Technologies, and I will talk about that in a little more detail. It's down as much as 14% through the course of the day. We've had more weakness in Jayaprakash Associates, Hathway Cable, Bombay Rayon Fashion, and Quality. As you can see, a lot of these are losing out well over 5%. But on the gaining end, we do have Pfizer, which advanced by 17%. It's followed by BHEL, Shrey Infra, as well as Sudarshan Chemicals. Sudarshan Chemicals is another one to watch out for, considering we have a lot of HNIs invested in that company. Balrampur Chini and Bajaj Hindustan also advancing in trade. On the whole, it's turned out to be a evenly poised quarter when it comes to, rather evenly poised day when it comes to the broader markets. But let's get a perspective here and discuss how this week has gone by, considering we are looking at some very unusual moves through the course of the week. We have Neeraj Shah joining us to give us an idea. Neeraj, how has this week been? Because I'm looking at the likes of Larsen & Toubro and Tech Mahindra, which seems like they're playing catch-up.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, of course, this is the 5-day performance and kind of gives an indication of what's happened from last Friday onwards till now. But Agam, frankly, I think that pain, you would have highlighted it as well in your almost all of your shows. The pain in banks is rather lasting for a bit. I've seen day after day technical experts come and say that the fall seems to be now slightly overdone, and we are going out and buying it only to see the Nifty Bank correct one more time. Today was no exception, and while Kotak Bank stopped falling, some of the others participated. It looks interesting, slightly wobbly, not too much expected out of the Jackson Hole Symposium, to be honest. So don't quite know about Qs per se until we hit the next earnings season or otherwise, but let's wait and watch. The interesting bit is there is a new tension or a new piece of news on the global arena coming almost every single time. Turkey, everybody's forgotten. It was right at the epicenter of action last week, and now it's no longer there. The conversation still hovering around what will happen with US in China. So difficult, I think. Take it a day at a time. Very, very difficult to take positional trades. At least you speak to any smart trader off air, large traders, and all of them are saying that they are not taking any positional trades right now. For 10 days is out of the question completely.
Neeraj, Donald Trump has suggested that should we see his impeachment come through, the markets will fall. His former lawyer has pled guilty for a lot of these charges. Do you think that is something that could be something that markets should be concerned about?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably got to do with the chair and not Donald Trump himself, I would reckon. But yeah, I mean, if the US president were to go through that process, whoever the president is, surely will create a flutter or two. But that's, hey, maybe in November, and by November we'll have a couple of our own state election concerns might as well coming into the floor. But interesting. I mean, I would guess your view would be the same about it. But time will tell. I think the Bloomberg articles that we've read so far, Agam, seem to suggest that while these are serious charges, it may not really lead to impeachment.
Okay. All right. Well, Neeraj, thank you for joining us and getting us that perspective. But, well, what about the technicals? What are technicals telling us at this point in time? This is what the analysts are saying. Listen in.
There could be some sort of a consolidation going forward. One can maintain a neutral stance, and 11,500 is an important support for the Nifty on the lower side, and the resistance is at 11,650. So this could be a very short-term range, and only a profit booking or some some decline would come only if we break 11,500. So at the moment, we don't want to initiate any trade recommendation on Nifty and Bank Nifty. Specifically for Bank Nifty, the support will be at 27,750 and the resistance at 28,300. So this is a overall 400 points range for the Bank Nifty. We expect the banking index to trade in.
right now the range has shifted between 11,450 to say around 11,550, 11,570 onwards. So 100, 120 odd point range is what I would suggest. And my sense here is now that we are going to probably test the lower end of this range now over the next 1 or 2 sessions. So I would say that purely from a trading side, I would want to short sell Nifty, target of around 11,450 on the spot. A stop loss would be kept just above the high that we printed. 11,623.60 is where I would keep a hourly closing only stop loss. And for the next 1 or 2 days, I would want to short sell the Nifty for a small trading bet.
Right, let's talk about some stocks then. And the first one we're addressing right now is Hexaware Technologies, which is declined by 14% in today's day of trade. Well, overnight we had an understanding that its promoters, HT Global, would go ahead and sell some stake in order to raise funds. Now, they have gone ahead and done so in a series of block deals in which they have sold a stake worth well over 8% in today's day of trade. And they have managed to raise as much as 1,120 odd crores. But that really hasn't augured well on the stock price of Hexaware, where the floor price for this particular stake sale was at a 10% discount to, well, yesterday's closing price. And because of that, we have seen that fall in Hexaware, as you can see, well, around the levels of around well over 490 odd. It's now come off by as much as 70 odd points and eventually closed the day with losses of around 70 points. So some weakness coming through in Hexaware. We've had some severe short positions being made when it comes to the future space as well, and we're going to have to wait and watch whether or not there will be some respite as we move into trade next week, or should there be a little more weakness coming through. That said, in contrast, another stock which has actually been doing well today is JSW Steel, and we have Nikki Madhusudhan joining us to give us an idea. Nikki, what's going on with JSW Steel?
That's right, Agam. It's almost ended at that 52-week high level. It's a good gain that we've seen for JSW Steel, but then do bear in mind the fact that on YTD basis, we've seen all the steel stocks sliding, but then JSW Steel, contrary to the trend, has actually fetched a positive return of more than 30% on YTD basis, and also not just domestically has the counter outperformed. Also, the stock performance has been it's been an outlier as compared to even the global counterparts. A couple of reasons that can go behind the making of the strong show that JSW Steel has put up until now is the margin performance, EBITDA per ton that we've seen, the balance sheet, the strength that we've seen in the balance sheet, the temptation. It is just abstain from the temptation of getting into the insolvency proceedings and picking up assets at an aggressive valuation. That's probably worked well in the favor of the company. So aggressive capacity expansion, the balance sheet position remains pretty much healthy. EBITDA per ton is the best that we could have in terms of the cost per ton basis, efficient player. Domestically, it's a good situation for JSW Steel. Net, everything is working well for this counter right now. That's we're seeing a 52-week high level for the counter.
Well, Nikki, thanks for joining us and giving us an update on JSW Steel. So those are some of the stocks that we can watch out for as we move to trade next week. It's turned out to be a good week for the benchmark indices. Can we see that continue next week? Let's wait and watch. Until then, it's goodbye. And with that, it's a wrap on the markets. But lots more lined up, so stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.